Date to your potential, inspiring, educating, and empowering single members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Our hosts are Peggy Matheson, betrayal trauma recovery expert, and Sharon Collier, certified life and relationship coach.
Hey everybody, we're on episode 8. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
We just want to say thank you to our listeners, to you guys, because we've had a lot of people give us really positive feedback about what we're doing here, and we're so excited. Thank you for listening.
We're just grateful you're listening.
Yes. And today we've got a really fun conversation we're going to have about green lights and stop signs.
Yes.
Sharon, go for it.
Green lights and stop sign, giving the green light. I had a friend over the weekend reach out to me and ask me, why aren't any guys reaching out to me? She is perfectly adorable, cute little short thing. She's trim, she's blonde, she's rosy and pink. There's
all the things that you would think
all the things that you would think would be just a guy magnet. And she's like, nobody's reaching out. And I said, we live in a world of fear. I said, we're talking about people who have been through hard things. Divorce is hard. Being widowed is hard. And a lot of people are living in fear, even if they don't know it. This is a specialty of Peggy's.
Yeah. You know what? I'd been dating for maybe a year and a half, or been single, I should say. I hadn't been dating the whole time. And I had a guy reach out to me and say, guys just aren't as much pursuing as they were in their 20s because they've been through all this stuff, and it's tough. We've all got a lot of life in us,
Yes.
And so facing fear, and sometimes I'm going to give you an example of someone that I went out with, and when we'd known each other about 4 months socializing, and finally I was complaining about somebody else. I was talking about somebody else. I was like, give me some feedback here. He said, well, and he starts telling me, and I realized that he decided that he wasn't going to date me because he felt like I was his coach and all this stuff. And I straight up said, I would love to go out with you. So in that conversation, we said that, and we actually spent the weekend with a group, doing some single stuff. And at the end of the weekend, the next day, I'd seen him do something that really impressed me. And I texted him and said, leadership looks good on you. And he told me later, it wasn't until I said that he got the green light. And we talked about that. And he was like, I don't know if I didn't hear you when you said that. He just had so much to overcome, I think.
Yes.
But when I gave him the green light of leadership looks good on you, he was like, that was a clear. And another friend of mine, a guy friend, said, you just empowered him. I empowered him by saying it that way and doing that. And so then he asked me out.
Yes.
So and he didn't, and I'm not sure he realized how scared he might have been of asking me out.
Right.
And I think maybe people don't really know or get that, maybe how afraid they might be and why.
Right.
But
fear is a confidence killer.
Yeah.
And, and it's like you tell yourself, oh, they wouldn't go out with me.
Right. And sometimes that's automatic and sometimes it's conscious.
Yes.
But we got to bring, just start asking yourself, I always say this, ask yourself questions. Am I afraid? Why am I afraid?
Right. Yes.
And have I said no before I've really given this a shot?
Yes.
Have I taken myself out of this game, out of this possibility of dating maybe this person that I'm really attracted to, really interested in, before I even give it a shot?
Yes.
So let's be aware of our fears and take that leap of faith. I mean, and do that. So Sharon, go.
Yes. So I'm going to talk about flirting.
Yay!
Flirting, but not just flirting, because some of us have flirty personalities. I tend to be flirty with my friends. I'll wink at them. I touch them. But I'm going to call it more intentional flirting. And it's hard to do that. It's hard to be spontaneous and think I'm intentionally flirting. So I'm going to tell everybody this is going to take some practice. But I think we've got some good ideas today on how to flirt with a little more intention.
I love your ideas. I'm really excited for this. Can I
just
insert here?
Sure.
So when I was first single after a 34-year marriage, I'm like, I don't know how to flirt. How do I flirt? And I asked a girlfriend who was a lot younger than me, had been single for quite a while, and she gave me the same tips that you're going to be sharing with us here. And I had to practice. I'm like, oh, do I have the courage to do this?
Right?
It does take some courage. You
does
have to
take-
kind of reach outside of yourself.
And, you do have to fight your fears. And you have to tell yourself, if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
That's right.
Like, kind of just get outside your fear. We're working in a fearful world. Good thing we can edit.
Yes.
So we are working in a fearful world. So let's talk about some ideas where we can kind of get outside ourselves and give some green lights. Okay, at the end, we're going to talk about chasing versus flirting, because that was another one of her questions. Thank you, Jennifer. Was, if we're not supposed to chase, how do we get anything done? And I'm like, how do we ask somebody out, or how do we get asked out? We have to chase. And I said, no, you have to give a green light. So we're going to talk about that at the end when we talk about some stop signs to look for as well. So flirting, using our eyes, eye contact. If you notice somebody is giving you a lot of eye contact, give them eye contact back. Extend that eye contact and smile.
If you're interested.
Yes, if that person looks interesting to you, give them a good stare back, not a piercing stare, but give them a good extended look back and smile. Okay, you've just made a connection. That's going to make it a little easier for them to come over and say, hey. Other things we can do with our eyes, raise our eyebrows. There's little coy looks you can do with your eyes and eyebrows, winking. You can smile with your eyes. So use your eyes. First thing in flirting is eyes and eye contact.
Can I say something?
Of course.
So my friend that I was telling you about, she's not a Latter-day Saint, but she had some great tips. And she said, so you look at them, and if they're looking at you, then you look away.
Yes.
And then you slowly look back. And if they're still looking at you, you smile.
Yes. I actually demonstrated this at a conference, and people talked about it for about a month because I kind of hammered it.
Because you're so awesome.
Because no, I kind of hammed it
Well,
up to the
that's
point
part of your
of-
awesomeness.
So make sure we're using our assets, our eyes, okay? Smiling, okay? Happy people are the most attractive people. Happiness and confidence. So if you find things to smile about, if you're having conversations, make sure you're smiling. If they're watching you talk to somebody else and you've got a big old smile on your face, like you're loving what this person's going to say, they're going to think you're going to love what they're saying. So make sure that you're always smiling. Keep a smile on your face. You're out in social situations. A natural smile, not a goofy smile.
Find something to be happy about.
Yes,
Find
yes.
little things that bring you joy. Even if you're afraid, find something you can think about that will bring you more joy.
Yes.
That will be a happier thought.
Yes, and you're going to have happier conversations.
Yeah.
Really, honestly. Humor. Humor is a big way to flirt. Friendly banter. There's all sorts of friendly banter. If you're going to use sarcasm, be careful with sarcasm, because sarcasm could go a little too far. And we're talking about some injured people here, so you don't want to injure anybody trying to flirt.
Right.
But funny little sarcastic thing. Hey, are you gonna hog all that chocolate pudding, or are you gonna let me have some?
Right.
Just little ways that you can just get in and connect. Cheesy lines, guys. If you said, okay, sorry, I have to drop a cheesy line here and say, I don't know, I seem to have lost my phone number. Can I have yours? Did it hurt when you fell from heaven? Any of those cheesy lines, if you preface it with, I'm sorry, I've got to drop a cheesy line here.
That would be so fun.
Right?
That would be
Right.
really fun.
We would
It
love
would be
that.
clever. And you would be like,
yes.
oh, points. Kudos
Yes,
to you.
points to you. That's a big show of confidence as well.
And you know what? When I started flirting, because I was like, I don't know how to do this because I've been married for so long. Anyway, I started doing it online in one of the groups.
Yes.
And it was fun. And it gave me time to think and try and be clever. And it's a
Yes.
great way to practice.
Yes, online is definitely.
Yeah. And I got so good at one point, me and this guy started bantering back and forth, and he finally finally broke, and he sent me a private message. And we went on in the private message. It was super fun. It was just so much fun.
Yeah, it's a good way to show your fun side, and especially online. Online, you can't give any eye contact and smiling. They've got your pictures, but there's things you can't do online, and using humor is definitely one of the ways that you can
start thinking about how could I make this interaction funny? How could I make it fun?
Yes.
Start exploring that with yourself. So great ideas.
Yes. So the next one is, I call them honest compliments. Okay, you don't want to give a compliment where it's insincere or not true.
Oh, yeah.
Not true. I have a girlfriend who spits out compliments all the time, and it's like, well, that one wasn't true. And I love her because she's trying to be super positive, but they don't always come across sincere or honest. So and once you get not an honest compliment, you're not going to trust that any other compliment is true.
Yes, and when you see someone who that's all they do is give compliments, it doesn't mean anything.
Right. And so I love her positivity, but I've watched her give compliments to people, and I went, oh, geez, no. So make sure they are honest compliments to to what's going on. An outfit better be pretty.
Right.
If I'm in jeans and a t-shirt and I've been out in the yard and someone says, oh wow, you look so good, obviously I know.
Right. Or like, darn, you make that dress look really great.
Somebody could tell me I make jeans and a t-shirt look good.
Yeah.
And that's a compliment, but just be careful. So when you're trying to flirt, there's regular compliments and then there's flirty compliments. Should we talk about the difference?
Please tell me. I want to know.
Right. So I'm having an intelligent conversation with a guy and he's really liking it. And he could say, wow, Sharon, you're really intelligent. Well, that's a great compliment. Thank you. Or he could say, wow, Sharon, you're a double threat. You're pretty and intelligent.
Ooh.
Right? All of a sudden, a compliment turns into a flirty compliment. You can tell somebody, oh my gosh, you're so funny. Right?
Right.
Oh, you're funny.
Right.
Or you could say, oh gosh, you're so funny. My sides hurt from laughing.
Oh, that's different. That
all
is
of a
very
sudden
different.
turns from a regular compliment to kind of a flirty compliment. It's like it takes it a step further.
Yeah, it's a step further.
Yes. Or, just a really sincere, wow, I think you have the prettiest eyes I've ever seen. Versus, well, you have pretty blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So just take that compliment a step further, and it all of a sudden is a green light. It's just, it's a way to be flirty and to say, okay, I'm connecting with you here,
Right.
or we should be connecting. And so when I talk about being careful with your compliments, I have to tell this story of a really great friend in my widow group. He's Hispanic of some origin. I'm not sure where. I think South America somewhere. He's adorable. He's too old for me, so we flirt a lot, but not in a way that we would actually go out. But we were dancing one time, and he's dancing me all over the floor, and he's Latin, and he's a great dancer, and I'm having so much fun. And he goes, I really love your personality. And I went, oh. I'm like, is that the same as being a sweet spirit? Back in the day when that was dropped a lot and made fun of and stuff. And I was like, thank you. And I'm sure it was a cultural thing. I don't think
Language barrier.
A language, it wasn't meant as an insult, but it was like, oh.
You didn't quite know how to take it, right?
If I was interested, I would have been. So I just thought it was funny that he told me I had a great personality. So if you want to tell somebody they have a great personality, they have sparkly personality. And I don't think that would have been in his dialogue.
Right.
Sparkly. I enjoy your sparkly personality,
Yeah.
Or, oh, you're cute and you have a fun personality. Or he could have just said I was fun. It was just a really funny compliment to get.
Yeah.
It was like, So make sure if you're interested in the person, you're taking it from just a compliment to a flirty compliment, an extended.
So let me flip this and say, okay, having received compliments from people, so how do you respond if you want to give them the green light? I mean, just say, oh, thank you. Or do you say more than that? Or
you can. Okay. And I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you for bringing that up. Learn how to take a compliment. If you're going to be out in the singles world and you're going to be flirting and stuff, do not deflect. If you're deflecting a compliment.
And you from somebody that you want
yes.
the compliment from?
Oh, geez. No, that's not true. Oh, I wish that was me. don't deflect a compliment. Just learn how to say, oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah, so it's that simple.
You know, if somebody says, I have really enjoyed this conversation. Oh, thank you. I have enjoyed it too. You can come back. If they're complimenting your clothes or something, you can turn it into something funny. Oh, this old thing. No, just kidding. Thank you. You can come back with humor or something. But yeah, make it come back with another compliment if it's fitting. That's a great way,
to give them a compliment back,
especially if it's something you're doing together.
Like,
I love that we have so much in common.
Right.
Oh, we do have a lot in common.
Yeah.
Validate what they said, or anyways, if you can give another compliment back to them. That's always nice.
Now, if they give you this compliment and it's clear that it's like you're a double threat, and it's cute, beautiful, and you got this great personality, and you realize that that's a green light from them, and you want to put a stop sign up.
We're going to talk about all that at the. We're going to talk about.
I have to be patient and wait.
You have to be patient.
Okay.
Yeah, I call that the shove off.
Okay. All right.
I need to come up with a more positive word than that.
Okay.
Yes, we're going to talk about how to kind of deflect some advances of, and we need to be polite and everything. Proximity is next. If you are interested, make sure that you are in an available proximity to them, okay? Especially as girls, I call it the flock of females. We're at a dance, and there's 8 girls all dancing together, and we're having a great time, and kind of that's why I go to singles dances, is kind of to dance with my girlfriends and stuff. And it's really intimidating to a guy to walk up to this group of females and just ask one.
Right.
Or to try to strike up a conversation with just one of them.
Right.
And some guys are confident enough to do it, and they can jump in the group and pick
but I can imagine for the majority that would be a big wall to have to climb.
Very, very intimidating. So you notice somebody off to the side and they've made a lot of eye contact. Make yourself available to them. It's like, oh, excuse yourself. I need to go to the restroom, or I need to go get a drink. Especially if there's food, that's a great place to meet up with someone, right?
Right.
You can always discuss food. Someone's like, hey, what you eating?
Make yourself available. Move around the room. Figure out where they are. That sort of thing.
So make sure you're aware of your proximity in this whole process of green lights. Especially like if you're making eye contact, he's going to see that as a green light. If you're looking at him and then you're walking away from the group, it's like, oh, good, I can go talk to her.
I'm thinking about myself, and it's rare that when I see a guy that I'm like really attracted to or really interested in, it's rare that I will do some of these things. These are good things for me to think of, that I will make. I mean, I do try and keep an eye, I try and see, but if he's not looking at me, if he's not noticing me, I hesitate to put myself in front of him in some way, like with proximity. But I'm going to take that as a challenge, Sharon. I'm going to try that.
It's like, okay, there's a cute guy over there. I've just made eye contact, but now he's not making eye contact. Dang, maybe I'm just going to go do a little brush by, a little flyby,
brush by.
I'm just going to walk across because I'm feeling cute today. So yes, proximity is a great way to get somebody's attention. Or,
it's great.
If somebody may want your, keep an eye on proximity.
Well, and I know, well, particularly at dances, and we have a lot of dances here in Utah. I recognize a lot of people don't have that where they live, but I've seen guys for months, and all of a sudden they start talking to me like, "Have you been here a lot?" And I said, "Oh, I come to these all the time." Like they've never seen me,
right?
And I'm like, "Well, how could you not ever seen me?" I mean, for anybody that knows me knows that I make myself very well known on the dance floor. But I have had people say that, guys say that. So I'm like, so this is an important tip.
Yes.
To make yourself seen.
Yes,
and
definitely.
Sometimes I have to just add a little note here, sometimes with women. Well, and I think with men too, if we've been through a lot of struggle, but I think women generally tend to hide. It's hard for us sometimes to be, some of us, not all of us, but to be seen.
Right.
To really be seen. And so I just encourage anybody who has that, I don't want to be seen.
Oh, because women are the hardest on themselves. We've picked apart. It's like, I'm not having a great hair day. Maybe I'm just going to hang out with my girls tonight.
Right. We're very self-critical.
Yes.
And we have a world that puts women out there as this, all this, and guys too now, but there's just this high expectation of what a beautiful woman is.
Right.
And so we're really self-critical, but be seen.
Yes.
And be confident in that being seen, and figure out whatever way you need to feel like it's good for you to be seen.
Yes.
So anyway.
Yes, definitely. breaking the touch barrier. If touch is your love language, this section is for you. Okay, breaking the touch barrier is such a good green light. If you are a natural toucher, this might be actually a little bit harder for you because they're going to watch you touch everybody in the room and not really see it as a green light. So, in fact, I have an example. Well, first let's talk about breaking the touch barrier. Easy ways to break the touch barrier. Fist bumps. It's like, oh, you hate black jelly beans too? Fist bump. You know, high fives, handshakes. When you meet somebody, shake their hand. If you're interested, man, shake their hand. You know, you can shake their hand with two of your hands if you're, you know.
Oh, yeah.
There's
There's a whole way you can make that a nice thing. You
Yes.
can touch the back of their elbow with the
yes.
left hand as you
Oh,
shake with the
yeah.
right.
Yep.
Take your hand and
Make
go,
that a
move it
magical
across.
handshake.
Your left hand moving
Yeah.
across the back of their hand.
Yep, you can do a lot with a handshake. Hugs and extended hugs. And that's what I was going to talk about because I dated this guy for about 1.5 years and we were pals. We were buddies. And he'd give me a side squeeze. It was kind of like he was telling me almost that we were buddies. And I was okay with that. He was in my widow group and we were very good friends. I was super attracted to him. Talk about a pheromonal response. I literally wanted to dump myself in his lap every time I saw him.
Danger zone.
Right, I know. But I'd get this side hug from him. So he invited me to go see live music at one of his friends' restaurants. And I was like, yeah, which was funny because I had traffic school that day. And I walked into traffic school and I said, I don't know if anybody else has been to traffic school, but if we ask a lot of questions, we're going to be here all night and I have a date later. So nobody ask any questions. So the officer in charge was like, any questions? And everybody was silent. And he's like, really? No questions? So I zoom over to this
Way to
live
take
music.
charge of your life, Sharon.
Right? Helpful tips for traffic school. It's our bonus.
On date night.
Yes, it's your bonus. So I really didn't have a date later, but I wanted to have a date later. I was hoping this was a date, and I get there and there's a whole group of singles there.
Oh.
And I was like, well, that's fine. That was nice of him to invite me, and I enjoyed myself. Well, I watched him go around the room giving everybody these big old bear hugs. And I was like, what? I'm like, he never does that to me. I'm like, wow, I really must be in the friend zone. And then I stopped and wondered, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I'm going to get a bear hug later. I wonder if he's setting it up this way. You know,
that because he'd hugged everyone but you?
So at this point, he had hugged everybody but me because we were saying goodnight and he was going to walk me to my car and he's giving bear hugs. And I'm like, I've never gotten this big old frontal bear hug from this guy. And then I thought, I wonder if I'm going to get that. I wonder if we're breaking our side hug, the old slide in, you know, the side hug routine. I'm like, I wonder if he's setting himself up for that. So we went out to my car and we were talking for a minute and he's like, well, I better go. And he opens up his arms for this big old bear hug. And I was like, oh, wow. So of course I dove right in and I just thought I was going to give him a squeeze and go. And I gave my squeeze and I start letting go and he's still hanging on. And I'm like, okay, you're hanging on. So I start patting. I'm like, I don't know what to do at this point. So I'm patting his back. And so then he starts patting and he hasn't let go yet. So,
He's still never going to let go.
So, I mean, this is a very long extended hug at this point. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So my natural response for being nervous, I just started giggling. And so now I'm giggling and he's patting and I'm patting and finally we let go and he says goodnight. And I'm sure I was red in the face at this point because I was like, what just happened?
I'm sure you were.
But it was a green light.
Absolutely,
That was his green light. And he had to hug everybody else so that he could hug me like that, which was ridiculous. He didn't. But later he asked me, he's like, that first night when we went to the live music, he goes, how come you started giggling when I hugged you? I'm like, well, because it was such a long hug. I that was just my body's natural response to the nerves. And I said, but I kind of watched you give everybody like a full, like front on hug. So I kind of figured you were going to do that for me. And he goes, oh, dang. Like you figured me out.
But you know what? I love a guy with strategy.
Oh,
Seriously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's so awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was deliberate. And we dated for 1.5 years.
He knew what he wanted. He was going after it.
Yeah.
Great. That's a great.
Yes, that was,
Great
but
thing.
it was just fun. So touching. If somebody's leaning into you, hey, look at this picture of my dog on their phone. Let your arm touch theirs. You know, lean in. That's a bidding for them to touch you. And you can give, a bidding or an invitation for touching. I've had a guy show me his muscle before, like his bicep, and go touch it. And it was like, oh, okay. He just invited me to touch him. So I'm interested. So I'm going to take that invitation. I'm not going to poke it with one finger and go, nice. Oh, I gave that a good old squeeze. And then I poked his pecs and I'm like, ooh, those are getting good too. You know, he was on this weight loss plan. He was looking good. It was like, I'm just going to take advantage of his invitation to touch him. Or a girl can, you know, I've said, oh, feel how soft my shirt is. You know, and he can pinch it and go, oh, it's soft. Or he can grab my arm and go, oh, wow, that's really soft. So you can make a bid to break the touch barrier and, you know, an invitation and see if they take that.
Yeah, or he could just full on hug you and feel the whole shirt. And,
you know,
well, no, that's not a good idea.
I was going to say if he's really brave, go for it, you know. But, you know what I'm saying? It's like you can make a bidding for to break the touch barrier.
Right.
And so if somebody's doing that and you're interested, take that. Take that up. If they're inviting you to touch them.
Is there something in my hair?
Yes.
It feels like there's something in my hair.
Yes. I actually had a guy, there was something in my eyelash, but he never showed me what it was. So he's like, wait, there's something in your eyelash. I'm like, there is? And so I kind of gave him my face and he touched the side of my face and picked out whatever it was that was in my eyelash, which he never showed me. So I thought, you're smooth.
Right.
You know, if there was really nothing in my eyelash, I thought that was smooth. But yeah, breaking the touch barrier. It's a great way to send a really good signal unless you're touching everybody in the room. So keep that in mind. If you're trying to send a signal to one person, you're hugging everybody in the room and you're touching them more, they're going to see that. That's a green light. Okay. So just make sure that you're deliberate in that, you know, and like I said, not touching everybody in the room. Okay. The last kind of flirty thing I really want to talk about is just stating what you want. How bold are you? Okay. I call this the things in common request. It's like, you like rock climbing? I love rock climbing. We should go sometime. Okay. That is a green light. Guys, if you get that from a girl, that is a green light. She is saying, I will go out with you.
Absolutely.
Okay. The next one is what I call the big hint statement. You like bowling? Oh my gosh. I think bowling is the funnest date.
Super big green light.
She just said the word date to you guys, right?
She spoke that word.
Yes. Green light. Just go. And ladies, if you're listening, use some of these. Change it up, but use some of these. Okay. Just say it. Just say what you want. Oh my gosh, you're so much fun. We should go out sometime. Ping, bing, 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 bing. Green light. Right there. Green light, undeniably.
So let's talk about this. So you're talking about the ladies doing this.
I'm talking about ladies doing this to the men.
Okay. How often are you suggesting that women do this a lot, or?
You're having a conversation with a guy, you're at a party. You're having a conversation and you're really hitting it off. Do it. Do it.
Okay.
If you don't ask, the answer is no, right?
Right.
And it's like, especially if he's still kind of like nervous, guys will be kind of nervous. It's like, I'm not sure what she's saying to me, you know?
See, I'm the cautious type. So like,
Yeah.
if I just met this guy for the first time at this party, most of the time I would really hesitate to do that at first, but that would be okay. It's just my personality. I tend to be very cautious, but that would totally be okay.
Right. Or maybe this is your second meeting with this guy and he saw you first thing and made a beeline to you. And you're like, okay. Because, you know, it goes both ways. Like I said in the beginning, you know, it's like we have to be doing this together. We both have to be sending signals. Not just one party is sending signals.
Right.
We both need to be sending signals.
So let's talk about girls asking guys out.
Oh, for sure. Okay, this is how I recommend girls do this. Girls, if you want to ask a guy out, number one, plan something a guy would want to do. Don't ask him to go to a Barbra Streisand concert, okay?
A Barbra Streisand concert.
Okay, Celine Dion, probably not, okay? Plan something a guy would like to do and ask him out, okay? Do you want to go on a picnic up the canyon? Or do you want to go on a hike? It's something a guy would do, you know, and ask him out. And then just have the one date and tell him, I had a great time. I would go out with you again, but I'm not going to ask you out again. I'm going to kind of put the ball in your court. However you want to say that. You know, if you'd like to go out again.
Is it essential to say that?
I would, because otherwise he might feel chased. And we're going to talk about that in
so you
just a second.
Be really clear. Say, you know what? I've had a great time.
Yes, thank you for coming out with me.
Thank you for coming out with me. I I won't be asking you out again. So if you're interested, let me know. If you're not, that's
Yes.
okay. We'll be
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just kind of put it out there. It's like, I don't, this is not my style, but if you would like to go out again, I'm totally open to that idea. But only ask him out once, because there is a fine line between giving a green light and chasing. You do things a little bit more. We go back to compliments for a second, and we're going to talk about some of the stop signs. If you're going to give a compliment, give one or two. Don't sit and fire compliments. Oh my gosh, I like your shirt. I like your eyes. Oh my gosh, you're having a good hair day. No guy or girl is going to want to hear a firing that all of a sudden turns compliments into a chase.
Yeah, and it makes them look very insecure to me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes.
And you're kind of what's going on with this person. Yeah.
Yeah. So just make sure that we're flirting, we're giving a green light, but yet we're not taking it a step further so that they feel chased. Because what is a natural response if you feel chased?
Run away.
Run away, right? I have a really ignorant dog upstairs. Actually, no, she's great. But if I run, she'll chase me. And she would chase me all day. But if I turned around and started chasing her, man, that dog runs. And it's just nature. It's just nature in general. If you feel chased, you run in an emotional way as well. So that is all our flirting. I want to talk about the opposite. You brought this up before, right?
Stop signs.
Stop signs. How do you give somebody a stop sign, or how do you know when you're getting a stop sign? So let's talk about a few of those things. You ready?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Let's talk about body language. Okay? If we're interested in somebody, we want to open ourselves up, right? Maybe we want to point our feet at them and stuff. So if somebody's not interested, they're going to be closed off. Okay? They're going to fold their arms. They're going to turn away from you. I tried to ask a guy a question, and he literally turned his whole body away from me and gave me his ear.
Message received.
Message received. Message completely received. And I don't even remember if it was a guy I was interested in or not, but it was like, oh, okay, he thinks I'm flirting, or, I just remember he physically turned himself away from me. So body language, there was a cute little guy that I think I was a junior or senior I took dance with, and he was a freshman. So maybe I was a senior.
Was this it?
This is in high school.
High school?
This is in high school, and he was very talented, and he could sing, and he was in a different group than me, but one of our dance classes was the same. And I saw him, and we all loved each other, but I ran up to him, and I said, "Brycey!" And I grabbed him, and I squeezed him, and he was with his friends, and it embarrassed him, and I felt him push me off. And that was a clear sign, get off me. He was gentle about it, but I felt him literally take me and kind of push me off him. And I was like, oh my gosh, I embarrassed him. But watch for cues like that. Watch for cues like that. He did not want to be hugged by the senior girl with his freshman friends, But there's other situations where I've seen that, where it's like, okay, you're kind of being physically taken off this person. So watch for the body language signs like that. Okay. If you're talking to somebody and there's no eye contact, or they're distracted, if they're off somewhere else, or they just checked their phone, okay, that's a stop sign.
Right.
That's kind of like, okay, they're not interested. And this is where the chasing comes in. If you've made a bidding, if you have done the flirting, you've paid a compliment, you've been funny, and they're giving you stop signs, and you continue to flirt, this is chasing.
Yeah.
Just so we're
ding
clear.
Next.
Just
ding
so
next.
we're somebody who takes forever to text you back.
Yeah.
Not interested.
Yeah.
Makes excuses not to see you, cancels often, or just completely deflects your advances and says something like, I really don't think we have a lot in common, or it doesn't sound like we have a lot in common, does it?
Yeah.
And so this is where I'm going to start talking about things that we can do. We can do, when we're getting advances and we're not really interested.
Yeah, let's go there.
We can start doing some things like this. And before we close, we're going to talk about ghosting. But so remind me, don't let me forget to talk about ghosting.
Okay.
But I call it the shove off. And it sounds bad. I don't know what else to call it. Maybe you guys, the listeners, can help me. But if somebody approaches me and they start up a conversation and I don't want to be there, I graciously thank them. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for stopping in and saying hi. And I kind of put up my hand and I walk away.
Like a stop sign with your palm
like
forward.
Stop with my palm forward, and I walk away. And it kind of sounds rude, but I'm gracious. I'm happy that they stopped and said hi. I'm not interested. I don't want to talk about whatever they want to, it's like,
this is a good boundary, Sharon. This is really good.
And it's like I kind of put up my hand so they can see the body language and just be like, thank you. I mean, not while I'm saying thank you, but when I put up my hand to walk away, I'll say, catch you later, kind of thing. And it's like, if they don't catch that, I've done that to the same man several times. So it's like, once again, the body language, my hand is up.
You just have to keep repeating it.
Yeah. And so I need to come up with something. The shove off just sounds kind of mean, because I am appreciative when people come up and talk to me and, have a conversation. But, it's like, I'm not interested. When the conversation starts going into flirting and stuff, it's like, no thanks. Leaning off. You can send signals if somebody's leaning into you to lean away. And if somebody's doing that to you, that's a sign. It's like, maybe it's time to stop flirting, move along to somebody else,
this is really good, because I think about me. I know a lot of people this way. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. And I'm pretty good verbally with, when I'm really clear, but probably the physical stuff, I probably could practice some things to be a little more clear.
Right.
Because sometimes I do have people that end up taking up my time, and I'm like, I don't want to give you the wrong message, but I'm really not interested.
Yes.
So I love the idea of the physical, being aware of what you're physically communicating.
Yes. And you don't want to open up your body. I mean, you don't want to cross your arms either, unless it's just somebody super buggy or annoying, or you've had to do this so many times.
Right.
But, we should be watching for this. Girls always ask me, how do I not have the same guy ask me to dance 6 or 7 times? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm good with dialogue with everybody else.
Right.
But just tell them, you know what? I've already danced with you a few times. Thank you. But no, you can be very polite and say no. I have told many, many guys, I don't give out my phone number at dances. Mm-hmm. And so I guess if I wanted to get somebody's number, we'd have to go step outside the dance. Make me a liar. But no, I mean, most of the time when I go to dances, I'm there to see my friends.
For you, yeah.
Yes. I'm there for me, because I want to dance. I want to listen to the music. I want to hang out with my friends. And so I really don't go to the dances as a social thing, where other people do, and that's great. That's a great way to meet people. That's a great way to break the touch barrier.
It is. Dance is a great way to do that.
It really is. But no, I have told several gentlemen, I don't give out my phone number at dances. That's not why I come to dances. And, some of them have been like, totally cool. And they've asked me to dance again. And other people have been like, they hide from me the next time they see me at a dance,
Which is too bad, but you can't. That's on them, not on you.
Yeah. So if you're going to be in a situation where you're going to have to, deflect somebody, come up with some dialogue that sounds like you, that doesn't sound like me, but sounds like you, that you can give them to, discourage them.
Yeah.
And
I think memorize things to say. Really
you need to be loving and kind, of course. But yes, if you're leaning back when they're leaning in and they're not catching it, and you've given the shove off and they followed you or something, come up with something nice, because most people know who's going to come at them at dances.
Yeah.
I have a lot of men that I danced with once, and I've never had to say another thing. It's like, I danced with Sharon once, like Sharon check,
Right.
Whether it's swing dancing or whatever. And it's like we have this common thing that we just know that we're one and done. And that's great. But then there's other men that, come back and it's like, can I dance with you again and stuff. So you generally know who that's going to be. And so, I just started having things in the back of my brain just so I could say, no, thank you, or I don't give my number out at dances, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So stop signs. There are some stop signs. The last thing I want to talk about is ghosting. Okay? Ghosting is so rude. Just tell somebody, you know what? I've had my eye on somebody else and she's kind of come back into the picture, so I'm going to stop dating you. Tell what's going on. Just be polite.
So what if somebody reaches out to you, say like you just became friends on Facebook and they reach out to you in a private message, and you just don't ever respond? Is that ghosting? Or is ghosting when you're in the middle of a conversation and they leave and don't ever finish it?
So my definition of ghosting is if you've had an interaction and then it abruptly stops and never happens again. So to me, that's really rude.
Yeah.
I
agree, 100%.
And if you have an honest and a polite response, use that instead of ghosting. There are some situations where you've got like somebody who doesn't get all the cues, the social cues that you probably need to do that with, but that's so rare.
Yeah.
That ghosting just give an honest response. It's just so rude. And if somebody ghosts you, let them go.
Absolutely.
That just says something about who they are.
It absolutely does.
And
it
if
says a
they've
lot
ghosted
about
you,
who they are.
If they've ghosted you for months and then just come back like nothing's happened, it's a no. No. I mean, unless they come back with some major apology or something, but if they just come back, I've had guys do that. It's like, oh, they really weren't interested. They just wanted a conversation and I got ghosted. And then they just come back 6 months later, they have my phone number and we've been texting and there's nothing. And I was like, hey, what's happening? And it's like, no, I think you're a jerk because ghosting is rude. So hopefully we've clarified ghosting.
Yeah.
Have we clarified
Thank
ghosting?
you. Yeah, that's
For sure.
helpful for sure.
For sure.
So great. This has been awesome. Thank you
Very
for
fun.
sharing all of your great knowledge and funness about this whole thing. Stop signs and green lights. Everybody start practicing, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and that it inspired you on your dating journey. Please share this with anyone you think might benefit from what you've heard today and subscribe to our channel. Check out our website at datetoyourpotential.com and take our free quiz to see if you are dating to your potential. We want you to know you are not alone. We support you. We are in this with you.